Welcome to Are You Mad at Me? I'm your host, Vickie Morgan. You might know me from this book. I'm the author of How to Be a Famous Sexy Writer, A Guide to Self-Publishing. I know, it's a pretty big deal. And I'm joined today by my all-time favorite writer, because not only is she a brilliant writer, but she's also an absolute machine when it comes to marketing. I have so many questions. So I'm joined by Ida Linehan Young today. Ida, thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
So, so did I mention that we have I think you'll be impressed by this. Are You Mad at Me is the #1 podcast in all of Canada in self-publishing and marketing.
Woohoo.
I know. Pretty impressive.
Wicked.
All right.
Hard to follow that up. Thanks for having me.
We got all that stuff out of the way. Okay. So I'm going to go back to, of course, we talk about, on Are You Mad at Me, we talk about self-publishing and marketing. My journey, of course, if you've never seen an episode ever, you can go back and check them all out. So my journey started with Josh and I published our first book. It's called For the Grace of Joe. And this beautiful artwork on the front is done by Stephen Hoke. You can check that out. It's literally on all the platforms. I started out on Amazon with a paperback and an ebook. And then I was afraid to market. I was afraid to tell anybody about it. I was afraid anyone might read it because I put all kinds of personal stuff in there. And then about 5 years later, I said, you know what? I'm going to try writing comedy because that's what I really want to be doing. And so I wrote this one. I was afraid to market it. And so I said, this is getting ridiculous. Like there's these two books. The paperback came out, 0 sales. And I wrote a song about it. It's called World's Worst Seller. And then a few weeks later, I put the ebook out and it was a bestseller. I have no idea what the difference was. But then the sales started going up on this one as well. And I was like, there's something here, something about believing in yourself that seems to kind of open yourself up to the universe. And so Self-Publishing Month was born, and we started celebrating in the month of October all these things. We started doing all these signings and speaking events and stuff to promote self-publishing. And then this year, it all kind of goes together because once you let it out, it starts growing. So How to Be a Famous Sexy Writer is a guide. And this is, up until I publish this has everything that I know about self-publishing up until the day I hit publish. The next day, this was all about KDP.
Learned something new.
KDP and Amazon. This is everything you need to know right here. Ebook, paperback, and marketing. And then the next day, I found out that you can go on Barnes & Noble. You can go on, you can be
Kobo,
in Indigo.
yeah.
You can be in Kobo, Nook, Smashwords. It was Apple, Google, Etsy. I was so embarrassed. And of course, I had to go learn all that stuff and put my book on all those platforms. So those books are all available everywhere. And then I go to this author event. How I ended up in Kohl's is a whole other story. I was afraid to even try to put my book in Kohl's because someone else locally said no. They said my book wasn't Newfoundland enough. And I went, oh, okay, I guess I'm not supposed to be in bookstores. So Tina Madigan's book came out. Tina was doing a signing at Kohl's. I said, how'd you get in there? And she goes, well, I asked. So I asked, and then you and I met because my books are all in Kohl's, and all of your books are in Kohl's because you are a prolific writer, and you've been writing for 10 years. Was it 10 or 12?
I've been published for 11 years.
So 11 years, the anniversary just passed just recently.
September 7th, yep.
And you have so many bestsellers. You've done memoirs, and you started to get into fiction after the first few memoirs went.
Yes.
I mean, your journey, and then now you've got children's books. Okay, so we're going to, because this is why we're here. Ida, I want to pick your brain. I just know you're such a fountain of information. Tell me about, where do you want to start? Like, what's your favorite? I know you have a brand new book out. You have 2, actually. You have another one coming out close to Christmas.
Yes, in October.
But let's go back a little tiny bit. We will get to all that. But tell me about, where'd you start? When did you start writing stuff down because I mean, did you keep journals? Like, how did you start the first book?
No.
Really?
I didn't write. I didn't do anything, but I had a story. And I didn't know I had a story until I kind of, I'm a volunteer. I think there's a gene for it. So I'm a volunteer. And after the kids finished school, there was really nothing to volunteer with because they didn't want to hang out with me anymore. So I saw an ad on TV for the Atlantic Burn Camp. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay. So I'm burned because I am burned. Mm-hmm. I said, I'll go volunteer there. So I made a call, and I made a call to New Brunswick. I got a call back from somebody in Gander who said, why don't you go to camp? And I was just going to try to arrange stuff on Newfoundland side, just do the volunteer gig. So I was like, yeah, what the heck, I'll go. So I went to burn camp, and it destroyed me. I had an epiphany, I call it. So when I came home, I was all healed. I was all saved and all this kind of stuff. Anyway, so I still didn't have any intentions of writing a book. But my daughter said to me one day, she said, "Mom, we have 5 aunts and uncles in the graveyard. Well, 1 aunt and 4 uncles in the graveyard, and we don't know anything about them." And I was like, you know what? Like, she's right. It was kind of like ancestry, things like that. So anyway, that got me thinking about writing something about my childhood and stuff like that. And then I saw a Land and Sea episode about some people down on the Bjorn Peninsula who had been in a bus crash somewhere up in like Northwest Territory somewhere, and a couple of people had died. Some of them were burned, and they came home and they all reclused, according to this Land and Sea episode. So I said, you know what, maybe I'll write a book. So this was again my my volunteer genes and my do-gooder state, right? So anyway, I said, maybe I'll write a book about how a community survives a tragedy, because I thought our community survived. So I started to like put out some feelers and ask some questions, and people couldn't talk to me, and I was like, oh my God, like, we didn't survive as a community. We went on, but we didn't survive. So then, like, my book, instead of being about a community, it became about me. So I wrote my finding healing by going to burn camp and forgiving myself for living, basically. So that was what my story was really about forgiving myself for living. But it also documented the tragedy that happened in North Harbour in 1980, where 4 of my brothers and my sister died in a house fire. So anyway, I decided to write the book. I sent it out to a publisher. They said, wait 6 weeks, like at least 6 weeks. And the lady from the publishing company called me the next day crying. She said, I can't do this. She said, I can't make a decision. She said, I'm going to have to send it out of province. So she sent it out of province. She said, now it's really going to take like 6 to 8 weeks. And she called me the next day. She said, write your book. So I wrote my book. And then 1,000 people came to my book launch.
Okay. So what did you send to the publisher?
My first chapter. It was just my first chapter. And it was about my waking up the morning of the fire. And like step by, so I'm like, I got a really technical mind, and like so it was easy to write a step by step what happened to me that morning, right? So I just started writing, and then this beautiful book appeared.
And it okay, that's your journey is wow. That, like, I thought you had to write the whole book for them, and I thought it had to be a query letter.
I didn't know. No, like I had no idea what I was doing. So I just wrote this chapter and I sent it in. I said, would you be interested in this? Yeah. And they were like... and
like you only sent it to one publisher?
Yeah. And the reason why I sent it to that publisher was because a guy from Calnet had done a trains book, and he had gone through that publisher. So I was like, hell, I'll just go try. And sent it out, and... like
and
within 2 days.
We're not talking about a long time ago. This is only 11 years ago.
11 years ago.
And so did the publisher locally do it, or was it a national publisher?
No, it was called Creative Publishing. They were with the Telegram, like auspices of the Telegram. They have since been bought out and like by Breakwater, but it was pre-Breakwater. It was at Creative.
So it was still a provincial organization.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. And how did you get 1,000 people at the...
I don't know. I laughed because the editor, the girl that I was working with, I said to her, like, I bring books. And she was like, yeah, well, like, we'll bring like maybe, 50 or 60. And I was like, no, like, bring books. And she was like, oh, Ida, you don't understand how these things go, right? Like, she said, if you got 50 books at a book launch, like, you've done really well. Yes. She said, like, don't think that you haven't. And I was like, no, but I had a thing out on Facebook, and like there was hundreds of people saying, I'll be there, and I want 5, and I want 3, and I want 4. I was like, you better bring more than that. So she gave in. She said, all right, well, I'll bring 400. And I was like, I don't think that's going to be enough. So she brought 1,200. Yeah. And there was almost 1,000 sold. And there would have been the 1,200 would have sold out, except people couldn't get into the harbour. So if you ever looked up my name, you can see it was out in North Harbour where 50 people live, and we had a book launch there, and 1,000 people showed up. It was like,
Are you the honorary mayor of North Harbour now?
oh no,
Like,
well,
is there a
it's
sign
very
up that says?
small.
Is there a sign up that says this is the home of Ida Linehan Young? Really?
No.
Get on that, North Harbour. Alan Doyle has one up out in Betty Harbour. So yeah. Good Lord. So what was next? I mean, I want to talk about that for the rest of my life.
So that was my only foray into books. I was never going to do another one.
Yeah.
And then somebody posted a review on the Telegram how it was a one-hit wonder. And I was like, well, that was a challenge. So then I wrote my first fiction. And so Creative was going to take that up, but they got bought out.
Yeah.
So when they got bought out, even though my title went with it, the contract didn't. So I was like without a contract, but they didn't really tell me right away. So I was preparing for a book launch in, I think it was September. And in August, they said, no, well, we're not going to do it.
This was for the first fiction book.
First fiction book, Being Mary Rowe.
So sorry, you had a contract, but no. Sorry, tell me that again. When they were bought out, you were left with.
So like
they had
so
agreed
they
to the
already
fiction book.
yeah, but they all I mean like from a business perspective, they already had a pile of people in there like
Yes.
you know going forward, and they
Yeah.
couldn't just take on timelines. So they said, well, maybe in a couple of years, and I was like, no. So then I went to Flanker, and Flanker was like, sure, and they put it out the next spring.
So did you send them the entire manuscript at Flanker?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. That's I have it's in my How to Fail at Documentary Filmmaking. I had a gig with the Herald where I was going to write. I mean, this was my dream. I wanted to interview hockey players. I wanted to be at ringside.
Yes.
I wanted to be in the dressing room. And I ended up with like my idea that I went and pitched. I lost a job at Rogers Television. I was a little secretary there, and I fell in love with TV. And then through that, the week that I was leaving, one of the producers pulled me aside, and he was really sweet. His name was Mike Walsh, and he said, what do you want to be doing? And I'm like, I don't know. Oh my God. I had no education at that point and no real experience except writing for my high school newspaper. And he said, well, what do you want to be doing? I said, I mean, in a dream world, I want to be interviewing hockey players. Like, I want to be writing profiles because I had seen something years ago and I wanted to write hockey profiles. And he said, so go to the St. John's Maple Leafs and ask them if you can go in and write a story. And I said, but I don't have anyone behind me. I don't have a newspaper or anything to say, this is why this person is here talking to these players. And he said, you don't need to. You can write a sample. And it opened my brain, and I went, I don't think so. And it happened very quickly where I went and talked to the PR guy, and he said, yeah, of course, you can go down and talk to one of the players. I talked to Sebastian Santomo. He's a little goalie from Montreal, brand new to the AHL. He was a sweetheart. Went really well, wrote the piece. I brought it into the Herald, and Craig Westcott was there at the time, and he signed me to 26 weeks of.
Oh, nice.
We were going to go to Browning and Harvey and have them as a sponsor, and there was going to be a weekly article because there was only 22 players, but they have so many rotating through it. There was enough material for 26 weeks, and I was on top of the world. Like, this is my dream job. And then Craig got fired.
Okay.
And the new guy that came in, I was like,
who are you?
Exactly. And so he was like, and I was like, so when do you want my first article? And he went, I don't even know who you are. And I said, well, but Craig told me that I could do this for every week for 26 weeks, and I'm going to have a press pass, and and he said, I don't know who you are. And I said, well, okay. I mean, I was young and green, and I didn't know, like, all right, I don't know. I didn't have a contract. I mean, I had emails back in the day, but, and so he said, look, write me a sample and I'll see. And so I talked to another hockey player. It was the off season. I talked to Craig Mills. I did a phone interview, did a great little piece on him, and they just went, no, thanks.
Oh, wow.
So I took it over to the Express.
When one door closes, another one opens.
Or you sit down and cry for the rest of your life and complain about it for 30 more years. So I went over to the Express and I gave them the sample, and they weren't open to, like, I don't even think I pitched it because I was so devastated. But I did get one article where I went and talked to, I had like a Christmas article about what the players do at Christmas time with their families. But I just gave up. But it was the idea of you had a contract with one,
You
and
gave
then
up
it
for
changes.
a little time. So just for
It's funny that it comes back around.
Yeah.
The things that you're meant to do, they come back around, and it's like one person closing a door is like, but I think it's devastating at the time. It's really hard to overcome and say, so
No, but I don't-
and someone telling you wait for 2 or 3 years is the most toxic, devastating, and you didn't, obviously. You didn't listen.
No, but like I'm not patient. I don't have patience. So
Well, do you have self-confidence? Because patience is like,
no, I probably grew into self-confidence,
Okay.
but yes, maybe. I don't know. I just knew what I wanted, and I knew I get it.
really?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Can I carry you around in my back pocket? And just because I had a high school reunion a few weeks back, and so I'm in full midlife crisis. I'm ready to do. I don't care about being embarrassed. I don't care how silly it sounds. I'm doing it. And so my next project, I'm working on a fiction book because I have these characters that I'm in love with, and I want to see how it all works out for them. So. What was the switch like? So writing, you had a lot of input, I know, from your mom for the first one. Like you did a lot of interviews and stuff with her.
No.
Oh.
My first one was about me.
Oh.
And because nobody would talk to me. And then after people read that book, then I convinced Mom, like 8 years later, to tell me her story. Which, like, she was living with me at the time.
Yeah,
so I was getting little glimpses of it. But then I actually sat down and interviewed her for 3 days. And then I got like 2 pages of stuff, and then I had to make a book out of it.
3 days of interviews, you got 2 pages.
I used to say, well, how did, when Francis was born, he was took off to the Janeway, and you were there, like it was 7 months before he got him back. How was that? And she was, oh yeah, it was hard, but I had, so that was the crux of the interview.
What are you going to make out of that?
Yeah, so then I made a book out of it.
Oh my God. All right, so the first fiction one, you had written the whole thing, you sent a manuscript off. Have you ever had to send out a whole bunch of query letters?
No, never.
What do you think that is? Are you just that confident? Do you just listen to your inner?
I am just that good. I don't know. It was like, I don't know, karma or something. It just worked out.
So how do you feel when you're sitting do you write with a computer?
Yes.
Okay. So how do you feel when you're sitting there? Do you know, like, this is gold? I mean, are you excited when you write your stuff?
No, I'm frightened to death.
Why?
Because, I don't know, like, it might be a bomb. My husband reads my stuff, and I have him warned, like, if it's no good, you tell me, because I'd rather you tell me, and then I tell you off, or then the public, get it. So he's always very... like very candid and
Have you ever had any that aren't going to make it?
No, no.
So there's no manuscripts like what was it, Carrie, Stephen King? He put it in a drawer, and his wife found it in the trash or something. And so there's none that haven't.
Not yet. No.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. All right, I'm going to need a minute to collect myself here because this is like. So, okay, so let's fast forward a whole bunch. So you've had a lot of success with traditional publishers.
Yes.
And I don't know that that's everybody's typical experience of having somebody call in a few days.
No, not at all. It is like 6 months sometimes.
Yeah.
Even though it might be posted that it's 6 weeks or whatever, but it is a long time.
So before I move on to the self-publishing part, would you recommend to somebody if they've written a book and they send off a query letter or they send off a first chapter or even the full manuscript, what do you do while you're waiting?
Write another book.
I love it. That's our soundbite right there. That's right from the gospel right there. Okay, so you have how many books do you have altogether so far?
11.
Okay, so 11 books and 11.
And I have 3 in the hopper, so I got 3 already. Sketched out, but I got 1 that I really want to write.
That you're working on. That's in the hopper.
No, it's not even
in your head.
It's just churning.
God, I love it. So you took a huge leap very recently.
Yes.
And you don't have any trouble with publishers picking up your books. That's not even an issue for you.
No.
But why did you went self-published? What was that? Why did you do that?
Because I wanted the flexibility. So I had a children's book ready for 3 years. Mm-hmm. And then I had this other book ready. And it was like, well, we'll do this one this year and this one next year. And I'm like, so then I'd be like, there'd be books there waiting to come out, right? Yeah. And so I was like, no, I'll do it myself.
Okay, so are you free to talk about financially what the difference is? I mean, not obviously without disclosing anything from the previous contracts, but do you see a big difference with the financial piece of how much you'll make from your books? Yet. But the potential is there,
yes,
right?
Yes, the potential is there.
Okay.
So traditionally publishers will sign you'll get 10% of the book price, right? And I think across the board in Newfoundland it's probably the same, unless you're special and, you might get a special deal, but usually it's 10% of the book. I don't know if it's the book price or what the publisher gets for the book.
Okay. And is there a big advance in the beginning?
Is there a big event?
Is there a big advance? Do they give you a big check?
No. Not locally. Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. But if it was, I spoke to somebody in New Brunswick who said she gets a I think it's $1,000 up front, but it comes after,
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So no advances. And they're about 10%.
not for me. For me.
Okay. And so what's your experience so far with the potential for self-publishing? And also, before that, with the marketing and stuff, was there a whole lot of marketing for you? Like, did they call you and say, you got a signing event at this date? Or was there big launches? Like, did they handle the
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay.
But like as I got more, I don't know, more, not good at it, but like as I got, more used to it, lots of times I just said, no, I'm going to have a lunch here, or I'm going doing this.
Okay.
And I do it up myself. Now, they come along, but...
So it's not built into your contract that they take care of the marketing or do your launches or signing
like every
events?
book would be the same. So you're on top of the marketing list while you're the newest book.
Okay.
But 2 weeks later, you are not the newest book.
Okay.
So you're starting to go down to like the food chain, right?
Okay.
So, but I do a lot of it myself. I have always been very cognizant of trying to be marketable without over marketing, and try to keep my space about books.
What's over marketing?
Like getting into, like, I wouldn't dare talk about anything political anywhere because it doesn't belong in the book world.
Gotcha.
Right? Like, I'm not writing a book about politics, so I'm not talking about politics.
Okay.
I don't have opinions on anything. I mean, I do have opinions on stuff, but to the public, I don't have opinions
All right.
on anything. Because, like, it's not the place you could turn off people in a few seconds, right?
So you're not taking it as a license to just come out and go, I'm a celebrity now, here's what I think about everything.
No, I don't even think I'm
So
a
you
celebrity.
stick to book marketing.
Yeah.
Selling your books.
Yeah.
So tell me how you do your marketing, because I know you have a very, very strong following on Facebook.
But that took 11 years, right?
Okay.
So, like my first book, I think I got 1,200 followers, like really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But then I've been building it over and like funnily enough, when we had a little rainfall in St. Bride's, and I was like, oh my God, it's like the rain is here. It was just like for a few seconds, and I took a video of it, and that got me 300 followers. I'm like, okay.
So it's just engagement on your author page. You just posted something that was going on in your day.
Posted little reels, and like sometimes I get, like, if there's a trend, like last Christmas there was a trend where people were going into winners and getting like asking, and so I got my 2 girls to go in and we videoed, like, asking for, excuse me, do you know where there's a cup, like a drinking glass that like shaped like an urn that we could use, so I could, when I'm having a drink at Christmas, I can think about my dead grandmother. So so like we did a few things like that. Okay. So it was just for fun, because that was kind of what the trend was. So like I'll just do them, and we actually went to a really like a fancy house that's always done up for Christmas. So we went down there, and I was like, from my house to yours, and my daughter was like, get off my property, who are you? So like it was just like some funny things to to say, we're not just, we're people too, right?
But that's a chance for people to get to know you.
Yes.
And then they want to be a part of whatever it is you're doing. So that's brilliant marketing. So so what do you do? Okay, tell me the difference between your author page and your personal page. How do you navigate Facebook? Do you ever try to post anything about your books on your personal profile?
Oh, I always do. I always post over to my, but not from my personal to.
You post on your author page and then share it on your personal.
If I want, because most people are following both, right?
Okay.
But I won't post the other way. If I post something on my personal page, like I don't want people, because I'm getting friend requests all the time. Yep. And I'm like, no, like that's what's over here. Like this is what this page is for. Yeah.
Okay. And so no issues. You don't have any hang-ups about posting on sharing what you do on your personal profile where your friends are on your Facebook?
No, because I'm like, hey boys, like you should be supporting me. You should be over on my other page. So
should have been over there anyway.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So like but in case they missed it on my other page, I'll say, hey, just checking in,
So you believe in your writing, and you are a fantastic writer, and you don't have any, like, you just believe in what you're doing, and you believe in taking up space.
It's just, I don't care.
Tell me about not caring. What do you mean?
I don't know. It's just like...
You don't worry?
No, I don't worry about it. Okay. Not that I don't care, but like I believe solidly that if I am putting something out for somebody to pay for, that it should well be good. Like, it can't be stupid stuff that you're asking someone to pay $20 for. Like, it has to be good. So I do care about that.
Yeah.
But then once you know
it's good.
Once I know it's good, then like there's nobody going to say, well, that was stupid.
Huh. Without,
I mean, unless you don't like if you don't like historical Newfoundland fiction and you pick up a historical Newfoundland fiction book, well, that's your problem, not mine, right?
Yeah.
Like it says there.
Yeah.
But when I wrote The Room Upstairs, it was kind of like, it was a speculative fiction.
Okay.
So I was like, people are going to think I'm gone off my head, like really. But I wanted to write it because it was in the way. Like, it was in the way of me moving on to my next project. So I was like, I got to write it if it goes out. But I was upfront. I was like, and even when I go to signings, I'm like, now this one is a little bit different. So like, don't judge me, but it's a little bit different. But it got fantastic reviews from people that like that genre.
Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up here. We're going to make this a two-parter because I know you want to listen to more of Ida Linehan Young. So we're going to be right back with episode 2. Ida, thank you very much for being on this. On Are You Mad at Me? We're going to be you're going to watch the next episode because I've got a bunch more questions.
Thank you.